In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a basic beanie. Hi, I'm Heather and this is Hooking Wench Crochet. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this basic beanie. I added the little flower applique that I showed you last week to this one. That's of course entirely optional. And the example I made in the video is a small, but I do tell you how to make it larger if you wanted a medium or large size hat. And this is a very simple, basic, beginner-friendly beanie pattern. So if you've never made a hat before and you're not sure, about your skills, don't worry about it one bit. You can do this. I promise you can. So what do you say? Let's get hooking. For today's tutorial, I'll be using a 5.5mm crochet hook, worsted weight yarn. Today I'm using Kramer Yarns Perfection Worsted in the color Coral Bell. And of course, we'll use scissors and a darning needle when ready to tie off. Now, you can start either with the magic ring or by chaining 2 and working into the second chain from the hook. The magic ring will give you a tighter center. That's what I'm going to use. So, drape the yarn over your fingers, kind of wrap it around, make a little crisscross there, bring it behind the first loop, back up so it reaches the X again. Wiggle your fingers, make sure it's a little loose, you don't want it too tight. Pinch it. Flip it over, the hook under the first strand, grab the second strand, pull it forward, give it a twist. Hold it all together, pull your fingers out, and with your working yarn, you're just going to chain 1 through that loop to secure it. Once you have your work secured, you're going to chain 2 more. Now we're going to do 8 double crochets into this circle. Yarn over, go through the loop, yarn over, pull up. So you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Just 1, 2, 3, and 8. Okay, so not including your chain, you should have 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Pull our ring tight. And we're not going to slip into the chain. We're going to slip into the top of the first actual post, the first actual stitch. To close. Okay. Now we're going to chain 3. And again, the chain is not counting as a stitch. We want to make sure we're working into our 8 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 actual stitches. We're just going to do 2 stitches in each stitch. So we're going to increase all the way around. Yarn over. One. And 2 into the same space. And the next stitch. 1, 2, and the next stitch. So we're 3 stitches in, you have 6 stitches plus our chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And keep going around. Continue to put 2 in each until we have 16 stitches plus our chain. And 16. And again, we want to slip not into the chain, but into the top of the first actual stitch. And chain 3. Okay, our next row, we're going to increase in every other stitch. So, we're going to put just 1 double crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 double crochet into the next. One and 2. And then 1 and then 2. And just continue that all the way around. Okay, since we started on a single, we should be ending on an increase. And again, slip to the top of the first stitch. And chain 3. Round 1 was 8 double crochets. Round 2 was increasing all the way around. Round 3 was 1 double crochet and then an increase. Here for round 4, we're going to do 2 double crochet and then an increase. The goal is to increase by 8 stitches every round. So 1, 2, and then an increase. One and 2. And then increase. And do that all the way around. Again, you should end on an increase and slip to the top of the first stitch. Now, you're going to continue to follow this same pattern. So since we did 1 in an increase and then 2 in an increase, your next row will be 3 in an increase, and the one after that will be 4 in an increase, etc. How far you want to increase to depends on what size hat you're making. Generally, for a small, I increase through round 6, which would be 2 more rounds from here. For a medium, till round 7, and for a large, till round 8. However, if you happen to have the person you're making it for available to use as a model, you can actually lay this part on their head and see what round it actually is the right size to cover the crown of the head. So you can either follow this general size chart, increase to around 6 for a small size, round 7 for a medium, round 8 for a large, or actually custom fit it to the individual you're making it for by laying it on the crown of their head and seeing when it's wide enough. Either way, once you get to the width you want, meet me back here and I'll show you how to work for depth. Once the crown of your hat is to the size that you want it, it's time to work for depth. So again, you're going to chain 3. But now, instead of doing any increases, you're just going to do double crochets all the way around. Just one double crochet in every stitch. And when you meet back on the other side, again, you're not going to slip into your chain, but into your first actual stitch. And you're going to continue this until you're about 1/4 of an inch away from your desired total depth. You're going to want your hat, depending on what size you're doing. And again, if you have the person in front of you, if you have the person you're making for in front of you, you can always just hold it onto their head and see how it looks and customize it and adjust it for them. But assuming you don't, you're going to want to measure from the top of the hat down. And for a small, you're going to want your ending size to be about 7 inches. For a medium, 8, and for a large, 9. So you work until you're about, 1/2 to 1/4 away from where you want to be with these double crochets. And then I'll show you how to do your simple little finishing row at the bottom. Okay, so I'm working on a small. As you can see, I'm at about 6.5, not quite near that 7 yet. So this is a good place to switch from my double crochets to doing my finishing single crochet rows. Now I usually do 2 rows. If you would rather only do 1, then you might want yours a little closer before you switch. But I'm going to do 2, so. To finish this off with a couple of single crochet rows, you chain 1 instead of chaining 3, and do single crochet, single into each one. And of course, single means that you don't wrap before you go in. You only have 2 loops on your hook and you pull through both of those. Right through, yarn over, pull through, and pull through both loops. Single crochet. See, you might be tempted to yarn over because you've been doing that the whole project. I do that all the time when I switch stitches. Just remember you're doing singles now. And this will just give your hat a firm, snug brim. So you can really feel like it's holding in place nicely when it's on your head. Nothing's worse than a hat that feels like it's going to fall off if you move wrong or if there's a high wind. Especially if you live in Northeast PA, we get a lot of high winds in the winter. You want your hat to feel secure. So a tight little single crochet row, or 2 or 3 if you like a wider brim. Right around. And once again, you want to slip not into your chain but into your stitch. Okay, now if you're only doing one finishing row, you would tie off here, but I want to do 2, so I'm going to chain 1 and go around one more time, and then I'll show you how to tie off. Okay, so I'm slipping my final row. If you are happy with your size, either by following the chart or by customizing it to the individual you're making it for, and you are ready to tie off, you cut your yarn over, pull through, and you're officially tied off. And then it's just a matter of weaving in these 2 ends to finish. Now that you know how to make a basic beanie, you can play around with making it with variegated yarns, adding color changes, doing a stripe, any kind of customization to make this very simple basic pattern more fun, unique, and your own. And I know you can have a ton of fun with it if you just let your imagination go crazy. So have fun with this pattern, practice makes perfect, work on it, and I will see you here next week.